Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's the first time you are visiting my channel, I want to encourage you to like and equally subscribe because I share very useful information about studying in Germany, immigration and travel generally. Okay guys, so in today's video is going to be a part 2 of the first video I did of bringing your spouse to Germany, and I will just try to summarize some of the things I said in the first video. We talked about the fact that the spouse who is currently living in Germany must provide proof of funds and proof of accommodation, and I also showed you, how you can start the whole process, especially filling the application form. Okay, if you want to know more, you can click the video in this place. Okay, so guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about, I will be continuing the video and talk about what you need to do afterwards. Okay, so like I said, from the example that was given of the various documents that are needed, you would need to provide all documents, the German certificate. You also need to provide your marriage certificate. So how does the processing work? When you have gotten an approved date for interview, you would be required to bring about 150,000 naira, which is estimate of about 300 to 350 euros. You can convert that to your home currency. All right, so in addition to that, you will also be required to pay an additional 80 euro for the application. Now, what the German government actually wants to do, or use the 300 to 350 euros, is to verify all the documents that you have submitted. Okay, so basically they want to know that you and your spouse are legally married, just like you have said, and they want to know, that it is not a forged document that you have presented. Okay, so what they will do is the embassy actually contract the investigative process to lawyers. So the lawyers would begin to investigate every of the documents that you have submitted. So for example, during the time my wife was to apply, she submitted marriage certificate, she submitted a whole lot of documents. Also she submitted a school living certificate, birth certificate, submitted high school certificate, submitted university certificate. So the lawyer that was placed on our case, actually went to the nursery school she attended, which is quite funny. The lawyer also went to the secondary school she attended, in order to confirm and check through the records if it is actually true. He went to our university, then the court where we did our legal marriage, the lawyer went there to confirm and to check in the register to see that, the serial number actually tallies with what we actually submitted. Okay, so this whole period of verification sometimes can take about 3 to 6 months, depending on how fast. So a lot of times some people have a lot of problems because they did not submit the original certificate, or possibly they forged 1 or 2 certificates. One thing I would actually advise is that if you cannot prove it, do not submit it. How do I mean? For example, some documents are optional, so basically why you are required to possibly include like a baptismal certificate. If you do not have it, it's not a problem. So some people cannot find their baptismal certificates. This is just an example. It's very important that you do not go about trying to sign an affidavit stating that the baptismal certificate is lost, because at the long run it might actually affect the processing, because one, that is an additional document that you cannot prove. So it's very likely that the lawyer is going to merry-go-round, and it's going to take a longer period of time. Okay, the number, I would also advise that when you know that this process is actually starting, you can call the various bodies. Like for example, you can reach out to the exams and record department of your university, or if you still have contact with the high school where you attended, you could actually also get in contact with them to remind them, so that some of your certificates, which might have been buried in some archives, might be brought out, so that when the lawyer eventually gets there, it's going to be quite easy for them to do what, to verify it. So basically this process, like I said, takes about for some people it's actually quite fast. It might take like a month or 2 months, but averagely you would see people going through all this process for 4 months. Okay. One other thing I didn't fail to also state is the fact that you might be required to present pictures, pictures of when you guys were dating, that's yourself and your spouse were dating. As for my own case, or for our own case, you actually needed to show like a picture myself and my now wife took about 8 years ago, and our current picture when we were dating, and the picture we took, during the marriage ceremony, the legal marriage ceremony. So like I said, the whole reason for doing all this is to verify that both of you, we're actually in a relationship, and it's not just a sham or scam wedding. So just to recap, the spouse who is in Germany must provide, financial proof and also accommodation proof, and the spouse who is in the home country must actually, provide all documentation that is needed. And like I said, if it is not needed, do not do it, include it, because it might make the processing very long. And on the other side, if it is needed, make sure you include, the information, because it's a long process. Believe me, it's a very long process. And if you play your cards very well, if you provide all original documents, and they are verifiable, then it's going to be a walk in the park. Now, for some people, you might be saying, oh God, how can I wait 10 months or 1 year for the interview process? Isn't this very long? Well, I believe it is very, very, very long. During our own time, when I was to bring my wife to Germany, it took approximately, I believe, 2 months, to get an interview date. It was very competitive, but there were dates that were available. I believe it became very, very competitive, and possibly maybe the German minister in charge of foreign affairs didn't want a lot of people bringing in their spouse, so they actually made it quite difficult, and the wait period was introduced. But I would just advise, and encourage you that you should stick with the process. It might look very long, but at the long run, it's also going to help your family. It helps to solidify, the bond that you share with your spouse. Okay, so if you have any question regarding family reunion or spouse visa, you can write me. You can include it in the comments. Like this video, share, subscribe. I'm actually going to do another video. We talked about the interview process for the spousal visa. So I want you to subscribe to the channel, because I will be bringing very good content back to back. Okay, so guys, to the next video. See you guys there. Ciao.